Hi there, I am Rachel Shores, and this is my friend Laume. We are both artists, and we have been recording for quite a while now. I think this will be our 10th episode, maybe, of talking about art and creativity, but we had a different idea today, which is totally backwards, and we're thinking about making this our intro video. So, this is going to be interesting, because I don't know what's going on. But so I do watercolor art in a bit of a spiritual mindset with using art to process my feelings and set goals and set intentions. Also for traveling, I do art to remember my travels, and it has also in my travels come in handy when there was the language barrier. I've been able to use art to communicate. And and Laume.
Yeah, hello. I'm an artist from Germany. I paint with natural materials. I make my own paint with old recipes. I draw figurative stuff and also abstract art, and I work with textile art, all kinds of things, and I write.
Very nice. So today is interesting in many ways, and I'm really glad you're recording this because, do you watch astrology stuff or pay attention to cycles?
Just a bit. So I'm not so much into it, but I'm fascinated by it somehow. There's one astrology site I like to refer to because it's very poetic and somehow it gets me thinking. So I know there's some great conjunction. I don't know. I'm not I'm not an expert, but somehow it's interesting. Yeah, I don't follow it, so I'm
very nice.
Everything. Use it to transform yourself somehow.
Yeah, which is funny because I mean that's the conjunction is happening tonight. So according to
really?
different astrologists, it'll be happening. So today is supposed to be the day of the before, and
okay.
Tomorrow is a whole new. Depending on who you talk to, some people are very excited about it. They're talking about a new age and a new spirituality and a new.
Okay, so you can tell me something about it. I'm not an expert.
Well, I don't know. I kind of like leaving it as is instead of getting all hyped up about what other people are saying is going to happen. And like maybe we can talk about it, soon. But like I think I like, for me, I follow along with astrology to see how or if it matches my moods or if my moods are matching stuff. But I also wonder if I'm just easily influenced by what people tell me is happening too.
Yeah, it can be both. So yeah,
So that's why I'm just kind of like curious today. That's why I'm happy we're recording, because I'm like, well, is there going to be a before and after? Because this is the before, right at the before,
Yeah,
will it be different tomorrow, and we'll be full of clarity and downloads?
I hope so. But it's also the winter solstice, isn't it? Yeah, it's 24th.
Well, this is what everybody's freaking out about, is it's lined up on the solstice. So there's a solstice. I don't know enough about astrology, but there's the solstice. There's Saturn and Jupiter coming together, so they'll look like one single star, the conjunction, which happens every 20 years. But I guess something I read somewhere was about 800 years. So I was wondering if they were saying the last time it lined up on the solstice was 800 years ago or something.
I read something on the newspaper about this could be like do you say this in English, the star on Christmas? So we call it in Germany. So, but this conjunction has to happen at nighttime, so you see it, and it has to happen, I think, at around 6 o'clock, because otherwise they are too low and you don't see them. So maybe that's it. So they're visible maybe every 800 years. I don't know.
Nice. Do you know if where, or if it's, where it's gonna, I want to see if I can find it in the German sky. I haven't gone to look
Yeah, they
though.
said I think the southwest. It should watch out for it maybe at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, something like that. Before 6 o'clock, otherwise they would disappear or something.
Okay, thanks for that, because I have not found that.
If I remember that correctly. But I thought, wow, that looks interesting. I want to check it out because I like to watch the stars without just
Yeah.
because.
Actually, that's a really cool idea. Maybe we'll go for a drive and find a dark place.
Yes, do that. You should be there at maybe 5:30 or something like this. That's what they said.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. Somehow I don't know. I'm not so much into astrology, but somehow I feel different. I think it's some kind of personal stuff. I feel like I'm I don't know, in a personal transformation phase. I don't know why. Maybe it's the end of the year.
Well, yeah, I mean, even with just that, it's just that they talk about, even in like Chinese medicine, they talk about the cycles of the year and how, we are cyclical creatures. And, the winter is the time of hibernation, and this is the darkest, today is the darkest, longest night of the year. This is our moment of going within, and so me being living in the northern hemisphere, I've always really enjoyed the seasons, because they're very, very distinct. And Germany has that, which I'm really happy about, where we have the long nights. I laugh at it. I'm not exactly mad at it like some people are, but like I think it's funny where you look outside at 4:30 and it's dark.
It's dark. That's weird.
I mean, I remember in Minnesota, I had a job where I would go to work in the dark and I'd come home in the dark.
Oh,
and
no,
and I worked in a closed factory building with no windows.
So you haven't seen any light.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
If I went out at lunchtime, I would go out at lunch for my 30-minute break, and then but it'd be too cold to stay outside, so you'd just be out, and you're like,
oh no.
There's
okay, the German winter sounds much more pleasant. No. In comparison. Yeah, but I think maybe it's the end of the year, and I think we had a very difficult year in a way. So things are changing. So before that, everybody thought maybe it's going on and on and on, and that's our life, and that's how life is, and that's how it goes. And now everything is all this kind of false security is totally shattered. So that leaves us with uncertainty, and and now we see there's no control.
It's kind of like are you kind of saying like this is our time when we're just kind of beaten down right now? This is the bottom. We're at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, but I think it just shows what's always been there. So we always assume, I think, that everything works according to plan, but it just works somehow, and there's no plan. And when something like this happens, you just see how fragile everything is, and the world doesn't behave in the way I wanted to. So I think it's just coincidence that you wake up every morning for years and years and years and everything's secure. It's not how the world is, and now we see that, and I think we just see the fabric of life how it is. Maybe that's weird. So
and it's like and I mean for us too, I mean we're in lockdown, so we're kind of forced to stay in, and I feel like we don't have as much for distractions and influences right now. I have been on social media plenty, but
I just hope. Do you think there will be this could somehow there is maybe there's before and after, maybe this fits with this conjunction, but do you think that this situation changes something? Is there something you're looking forward to next year?
Yes. So for me, what I'm feeling kind of brewing is getting more bold about what I want for my art, and being more trusting that it's okay to want that. Like I've been having lots of conversations, and and I'm really close to going on to social media and just laying it out and being like, look, this, like, I think I say it every once in a while, kind of, but like, to admit, I have admitted that, like, yes, I want to be paid for my art. I want to make money doing what I love. I want making money to be easy and fun and to flow. But the thing I've never admitted about that is that I feel really bad. I feel really ashamed that I want money. No, first that I want money, and second that I want it to be easy. Like, I feel
totally
like
understand. I totally relate to that.
And like, I've been struggling with it, especially now with Corona, like, and lockdown. It's like, there are people who have worked, 2 jobs. I know people struggle. I know people have worked 2 jobs. They've been laid off. They're losing their houses. I mean, maybe not so. Even in Germany, I've seen a couple. I've seen some, like yesterday we went out on a walk, and I saw 2 different places where all this stuff was out on the sidewalk, and I'm like, I don't know if is this how people move or clean out or get kicked out? I don't know. But yeah, and so it's like, I don't feel right at all saying, will you give me money for art? Will you give me money?
but the truth is, if you don't get any money for your art, those people will lose their house anyway. So
I know
it's not related. It's just not related. So
yeah, I get that, sort of.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think this has to do with art. So that I think it's the problem with art. It's that it's seen as something that you do in your free time, and you do this for leisure. It's not something to take seriously. So that's what I struggle with. So for me, it's a very serious matter. Actually, it's my life, and I devoted so much time to it. And I don't know. It's not something we wake up in the morning and then it's there, and it's and I think that's something that we have in our society at the moment. All this kind of stuff seems unnecessary, but it's not. And I hope that will change. So I read a very interesting article about to be a how do I say that? I'm lost for words. So it's about individuality and community. So there's this time of, I think, the last 40 years we've been trained and we've been almost brainwashed to care for ourselves. Then just care for yourself, grab all the money you can and do whatever you can. So this is the rise of the whole, I don't know, of all these rich guys who seem to but this doesn't work. And the idea behind that was that people are totally selfish, but they're not. And I think we can only thrive if we work together in communities in a way. So in that sense, art is much more important, because then you offer your art to the community and everybody can use it and be inspired by it. And then it's not just in our world at the moment, it's just do something individually and grab all the money. And somehow they thought there was some guy, I've forgotten the name, I think Margaret Thatcher was also inspired by this. So the individual wealth would somehow also benefit everybody else, but it's not true. You see all these extremely rich people, and I think we are brainwashed to believe that it's only our individual life that counts, but it's not. So as artists, we contribute to the community, we contribute to the life in a totally different way than just making money.
True. It's interesting how you say that brought up so many ideas.
Yes. It's very hard to put that into words.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, we had the same thing in the US. It was always about the trickle down. They were always like, if we reduce the taxes on the rich people, they'll have more money, and then they will that's the money will go. Then they can have more money to invest back into their business, and people will make, into their employees and stuff, which is complete BS. It never happened. They just,
I think
votes and stuff.
there's a guy, I don't know what's he called, Friedman or something, I don't know, I've forgotten because I didn't want to remember the name, but that's exactly, it trickles down and everybody will prosper, but it's not true.
Yeah, and I like it because now you see there's been more memes and more stuff and more analogies. They're like, yeah, it's like giving the dragon all the gold. If you have a village and then you have this one dragon that takes all the gold, he's not giving it to the villagers. He's just gonna sleep in a pile of gold. Like, nobody's winning.
No, and that's exactly where we're at. So the last 40 years we just did this, and now we have, surprisingly the rich got even richer, but the poor,
even now, like now during these times, they're actually, the rich are actually, yeah.
And when you look at it, and that's what I think also with this pandemic, and we expect people to behave and to live like, I don't know, to consider some values in life that we never ever considered as a value whatsoever. So it's not, I mean, to take care for others, it was seen as weak in this kind of ideology. Somehow it's weak, and everything should be just earn money, and in that way, as artists, we are nothing, of course, because it's not something you can build an empire on. But we contribute to a society in totally different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the way I see art working in that, in the older model, I guess, is like a hype and
yes, exactly,
a status.
Yeah,
like they've used art to show a status. Like if this painting is priced at $1 million and you buy it, now you look really, educated and rich and cultured because you've paid this artist, maybe an artist, but maybe you just paid the broker. Yeah,
that's how they fit in art in this weird world, in this weird rich people's world.
Is that art is a I wasn't gonna say commodity, but a status symbol.
Yes, it is, and that's what they made out of it. So yeah, and
it's interesting because when we were talking earlier about the image that came to my mind that has always bothered me about being a female artist is like so many films. I remember watching all these romantic comedies growing up, especially in the old, especially if a period film, and like if this girl was creative, she's like this kept woman in her big mansion and she paints china or something, and she's a creative artist.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
totally true.
I don't want to paint flowers on china.
That's what's expected of us somehow, and the art world is so very male somehow, and that's what I experience. People never take me seriously, so they think, oh, she's a woman. What can she do? It can't be any good.
Well, I wonder. I think it goes with the thing about like feelings are a weakness, and so like
exactly.
if feelings are a weakness, but art is created for feel. I feel like the purpose of art is to feel and to express feelings. And like, to me, it's, I think it's much more natural for maybe, am I being sexist saying that? Like that women.
No, it's just it's just at the moment, I mean, men are also put into this position. It's not their natural state of being as well. So it's not just putting women down or putting them in, saying this is your proper place. It's also for the men. They are not allowed to show feelings. So men can do this, but in our society, we don't allow this somehow. So it's the whole thing. It's not just the women who suffer, but I think many men suffer as well, but not all of them, not the rich ones.
So do you think, well, what I was asking is like, do you think then that women, like that's how art gets divvied up then? It's like if a woman does it, she's just being, she's just painting her feelings,
I think
but if a guy does it, it's revolutionary because he's expressing himself when they aren't usually encouraged to.
I think that's what I think when I look at some art. It's like they're afraid of expressing feelings, and somehow they're also, I think there are many people who are even afraid to look at a painting and having feelings. So that's why they have all this conceptual stuff where you just, it's like reading I don't know, a manual. It's nothing. It doesn't do anything with you. You just see this, okay, yeah, the straight lines, and this, he wanted to say something like this, so you just can process this in your brain, and there's nothing happening in the rest of your body. And I think it's this is fear. I always thought it's fear. They're so afraid of themselves. What else could be there? So they just look for art that can be just explained, like everything can be explained, and it's like an analytical system, and it's not something, that they don't want to see inside themselves, or something unexpected. So there's so much art out there that's so calculated. And that's how I feel sometimes, and I've experienced that myself when I showed my art, and it evokes feelings, I think, but and then they didn't say, oh, it evokes feelings, and I feel uncomfortable with it, and it just put me down. Said, this is nothing. There's no concept behind this. Yeah.
So what about then, like the different like other art, like women's portraits are pretty trendy, or have always been, or painting the figure.
Yes, I do that as well. Yeah.
Or getting cutesy, there's some more, putting faces on food or something. Does that, I mean, it's all different and creative.
But it's not,
with different purposes.
It's so small in comparison, isn't it? I mean, it's somehow small. Somehow. Well, I like to paint the figure, but I like to do it in quite differently. So I like to have this in a subtle way, totally different. So I like to play with it. So that's why I also make textile art, because I thought, okay, you think I'm a woman, but I can do textile art and I make something great. It's just, And I like to be just, I want to do whatever I want to do. So at one point I thought, okay, you don't take me seriously, then I can do whatever I like. Yeah, so who cares? I can paint, I can draw, I can make graphic novels, I can stitch. I do whatever comes into my mind. So I take that as some kind of freedom. So I don't have to fulfill any expectations. So
I have a friend who went to a prestigious school, art school, and her entire thing was to paint these ponies, like cutesy, kind of like a little bit cartoony, but they were always swearing and telling you off and stuff, and they were
exactly.
It was quite she really had to fight her professors, because they're like, this isn't, this is such low end art kind of thing, and she's like, no, I'm and I'm curious, like I think you can get really deep with it, because it's like, she was expressing herself, some very clear, very short, words, but with these cute, adorable ponies.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I think there's no way of telling what exactly art is. So I think maybe it's the intent. Maybe it's they want to express something, but it doesn't matter what it looks like. Who says so that I should paint large scale paintings? I can do whatever I want. I don't know. Who tells me so? I mean, it's my decision. I'm the artist, and not them. And I never understood who says what's art and what's not. I mean,
and there's a really great I've heard a couple people say this, and I absolutely love it, and I hope it's true, but they're saying, if there's a desire in your soul to make something, that's because somebody out there is looking for it and asking for it.
Maybe it's true, yeah.
And I was like, I hope that's true.
I mean, do you experience this differently? I mean, I know when I want to create something for myself, just to be creative, to do something, and there's a totally different intent for me when I create some art that I want to show, that I want other people to see and to react to. I think it's a difference for me. So somehow, yeah, maybe that's it. So the intent when I want to have this out there.
So if we're kind of thinking of it that way, so it kind of works back to before when we're talking about community.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're making art, we make it for ourselves, but then it also is for everybody.
Yeah, it's not, I think we live in a world where it's me and you, and I think it doesn't work. It's us. It's not about me only, it's not about you only. I don't have to give up myself. I don't have, it's us, because I benefit from this, from everything. And yeah, it's something somehow that's totally out of fashion, but I hope this comes back, and I hope this conjunction makes it happen as well. So yeah, when I do something, I do this for, of course, for myself. I make art for myself. I want this out there. I want this in the world, but I want to live in a world where there is art, not just mine, but everybody's, and I contribute to it. And in a community, sometimes you do things, you just whatever you can. So, and it's not important that I did it. It's not. We all make something, and it doesn't have to have my name written on it. It's just my contribution that counts, and then we just create something, and then it's out there for everybody to enjoy, or for everybody to use. And that's also for me, and that also enhances my life, my life. And I think honestly, to make this all yourself, it's stupid. I think it's stupid. Really, it makes no sense. I mean,
yeah. I do love, this is something I've been seeing, and what I really enjoy is collaboration and input, and how once you put something out there and people put in their input too, you can create more and get new ideas and stuff. And oh man, maybe I should go back to I had a painting series that was completely ridiculous. It was called Sacred Mullets, and it started with the idea of, I've always been angry at the images painted of Jesus, how he's this like this wussy, sad white guy with a mullet, and it looks like he has a mullet. Like, it just drove me nuts. And so I painted like a mullet and some Latin, and it was it started as what triggered it. Like, I've always had this thought about it, but I never dared paint it, because I was like, oh, this would make some people mad. And then one day, a hairdresser place, they would do a yearly art show, and they pick a hairstyle as the theme, and the theme that year was mullets and mohawks. And so they invited for it, and like, I was like, oh, this is my chance. If ever somebody had they're basically asking me to paint this, I just know it. And I painted it, and I got some Latin, and my painting was called The Way, the Truth, and the Mullet, and I translated over it in Latin, business in the front, party in the back. And then I just put it there, and it was like, oh, I'm done. I'm gonna be in so much trouble. And it won first place.
And really? Oh, wow, that's great. That's it. Your courage takes. That's great.
And the hairdressers fought over who got to buy it.
Oh, look at it. I mean, you just have to be courageous. I mean, it's great.
But what happened after that? Like, it was so popular that when we talk about collaboration, it was so popular. And I was like, as soon as they saw that, I was like, oh my goodness, like, I did not know this was a thing. I'm going to go, I can do more. I can do better, And I went to my roommate, who's Catholic, and I was like, hey, what do you think of this series, this idea? And we sat down, and I think she gave me 6 ideas. within, and I ended up doing, and like as I would paint them, people would bring me more ideas.
Oh, wow,
And more
that's
and
great.
more, and people started putting in other stuff, like stuff I didn't know about, like what was one, somebody was saying, someone gave me the idea, I'm pretty sure somebody gave me the idea for Harley Davidson,
Oh, wow.
because they're because they call the motorcycle a hog, and then their motto is live to ride, ride to live to ride, something like that, which sounds pretty, kind of biblical.
Yeah.
So I translated that into Latin, and then changed it to he rode upon a white hog, and so here is, a mullet person in the sky, all in white, wearing fringe and leather.
Well, that's great.
It's ridiculous. And he has a banner, and his banner is this Latin phrase.
But I love it. It's great.
Yeah, I ended up, I mean, it just kept going, and I could keep going. I finally kind of stopped it for a while. I kind of just stopped it because I was like, I do want to do, I'm up to 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it ended up bringing me 2 shows. I had 2 shows on it.
Oh, wow, that's great. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, it's
really great.
It was a bit ridiculous. Well, yeah, I got to do my own solo show at that hair salon.
Wow.
And
wow.
and my iconic piece isn't even the first one I made. My most iconic piece was the second one I made.
Okay,
because it was it's called Sacred Hair Dryer.
Do you still have it? I want to see this. I want to see this now.
Well, Sacred Hair Dryer sold. That was sold at the show.
Okay,
but,
so you.
I have the pictures. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just show me. I'm totally curious now.
Yeah. So Sacred Heart, it's that he's wearing red and a blue robe, and there's this, and has his hand, and there's this floating heart, and it's radiating and stuff. So I did that, but it's a red hair dryer instead, and it's glowing, and it's blowing his hair, and he's got his like a New Kids on the Block themed kind of mullet. Yeah, it's terrible.
I want to see that. Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing, really.
So, yeah, and that's the one that sells the most. And it's funny because it looks, I mean, I did a good job. I painted it. It looks like it looks very much like the classic painting.
Wow. Yeah, just
and
show me.
And I had
you should put a link somewhere underneath.
I'll try. Maybe that's the thing that'll happen in the new year. I'll reawaken my mullet series and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's great. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this kind of collaboration. At the moment, it still feels a bit off sometimes, because when I go there and want to collaborate, other people think, no, she just wants to show off. I think we're still in this transition. So
yeah.
Still in this the mindset isn't right yet.
But it's coming. I
hope so.
Tell. There are people that I have been finding and meeting up with on the internet that are just, they're for it. It's like, let's lift everybody up. You've got something and you're set and you've got it. You've got your thing figured out. I will help you promote it and stuff. Or you're developing something. I will help you figure out ideas. And we're in this up and down and flow all together. I feel there's a few people.
I hope so.
I really feel like that with. So.
Oh, that would be great, because I'm not a competitive person, and I think when it comes to art, it doesn't make sense. I mean,
yeah,
it makes no sense.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's like everybody's style is completely different. There is no competition. Like.
No, we just can.
You do, like the color palettes, the sizes, the prices, the content, like.
I think it's even more important to inspire people. So more people are into art. So more people realize how great it is to support artists or to have art in their homes. So I think it's not about competing for the one person who buys occasionally. It's just we have to build an audience altogether.
Yeah.
Just awareness that art and creativity and all this kind of stuff is important for their life.
Yeah.
That's at the heart of a community somehow.
Yeah. What do you think of? I kind of think about like the old villages sometimes, you know, and how people, when it came down to like people's abilities and stuff, and how everyone kind of worked together in different ways.
I think it's totally logical. Somehow that's how you can succeed, and even in difficult times, it makes sense. I mean, it was wrong to go into this direction where we are now with this individual, I don't know, wealth. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I feel like we're moving from a pyramid to a circle. That's what
I hope so. I really hope so. And then it would make sense to be an artist, I think. Yeah. And it would be appreciated for what it is, and you don't have to compete with someone who earns a lot of money with some other stuff that's seen as important at the moment, like a trader or whatever. I mean, yeah. So I think everybody should do what they can do best, because we can only thrive as a community. I mean, I can't do everything. I need some doctors. I need someone to build my house, and that's how it all comes together. And I just do whatever I can, what I do, but as best as I can.
Yeah, that's it. You know, I like that. That's a good point. I just think now back to when I had a room, you know, when I was living with a roommate, and she's like this incredible builder. She made all sorts of stuff and got all that, and she had her house and her things and the things she had made. And I came into her house, you know, when I'm moving in, and I remember sitting down in her living room, and it wasn't a wreck, but it was not like, I was like, this could be better arranged. And I sat there and I was like, I'm going to figure this out. And I sat on her couch for like 30 minutes and I just stared at everything. And then I figured it out, and that was like my contribution. And we rearranged her whole place. The couch stayed, but everything else completely shifted around. And she had this whole like new space, and she was just like, I remember how amazed she was, because she'd been living like that for like several years, you know? And I'm like, let's do this. What if we did this and this and this? And she's like, this makes so much sense. I'm like, yay.
Yeah, that's how collaboration works. And you don't have to do everything on yourself. I mean, you can't know everything. It's not possible.
Yeah, because
it's just not enough time.
yeah, because what she had built, you know, I wouldn't have thought of building, you know, but together we got a great efficient place.
Exactly. And I think that's what we could do. And I hope that we'll have this kind of society where we work together. And I mean, you go somewhere and you want to collaborate, and they say, yeah, but then they just have these competitive thoughts and they put you down, and you know, what? I don't know why did you do that? And I think it's the mindset we're living in at the moment. It's just not working.
Yeah, I have a little bit of hope, because I found a place called, I'll do a plug again because it's a mind camp, and it's a small community that started up in Canada, and they are actually into training people of how to think creatively. And they basically kind of hire out their services to big companies, because it's like companies know the system for making money, but they can't, you know, create new systems.
No, they don't, because then
so once their old way, you know, there's this and you do this, and if that doesn't quits working, or if they need something new, they get kind of stuck, and then they're like, you need a creative person to come in. And
exactly, that's what I think we are creative, but this is not something seen as successful. Creative is also, to be creative is also a kind of chaos. It's uncertain. But actually, where do the ideas come from? They sell so many, I don't know, where they create all the stuff, or I don't know, someone has to have the idea. And I think we need creative people much more. And I think it's something that's frowned upon. I know.
I just watched a podcast last night, and I will send it to you. Is that Lewis Howes and Kyle Cease, I believe is who it was. And he was talking about that, totally talking about that, how his belief is that, you know, there's different sources of ideas, and when they come from, you know, like yourself or within or the higher universe or whatever, it's like there's he called it the yeah but, whatever we say to talk ourselves out of it is what's holding us back. And I'm like wondering, I heard him last night, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to try all my crazy ideas.
Yeah, but you have to. I mean, you don't have to. I think it's just the matter with ideas. You just come and you don't have to put them on the paper. Not all of them, but you just have them. And I don't know how do you think ideas come to you? That's something I'm really interested in. How do you generate ideas? I mean, I always have this sense that it's somewhere out there, and I'm just like a radio, and it comes to me, and I just tune in to so whatever is out there. I don't know.
Yeah. I had a dream one time that has basically shaped how I believe my ideas are or whatnot. It was my acupuncturist, and she was doing some sort of treatment, and she was helping somebody move their energy or whatever, you know, like how acupuncture works and stuff. And in my dream, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I've also, you know, you talk about chi and I want to understand it and all this stuff. And she's like, oh, do you want to try? So she did something which made no sense in the dream, like she sprinkled salt or something. And there was like this flick, and all of a sudden I was in the energy world, and I was a Bunsen burner, basically, like a gas tube of just flame. And like I was in it, I could hear it. You know when you hear that jet fuel like just
yes,
like,
I can imagine that.
Blue and this white and this yellow light, and it was just like from top to bottom, and I was just in it, and I was like, my body was kind of like the glass tube of it to contain it. And like here I am thinking, oh, you know, energy with these like little floaty particles coming through, and it was like, no, you are just this jet fuel just burning. And it was like, I just love that dream, and I've illustrated it in my sketchbooks too, because it's just like flame on, and I'm like, oh, that's the energy that I'm, you know, have access to. Let's do it that way.
Great. But it's also very dangerous, isn't it? That's like, what people are afraid of. Yeah,
and that's when I was like, oh, I understand why people shut this off and stuff, because it's like
it's hard to control in a way. I mean,
you think it's not control, but like it was
contained, wasn't it?
It was contained, and it's because it's what you call that? Instead of being an explosion, it's how those flames work. Like the source, you know, it's a straight shot, straight flame, instead of an outward burst.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, it was contained in.
Yeah, it was really like being in a science experiment. It was just like, I am, you know, you've got however, a Bunsen or a torch, you know.
Yeah.
It was like a torch. Like you've got this whole explosive power and gas and the combination and the tanks that are under pressure and stuff, but that's all behind you. That's somewhere else. I'm the end of the torch that gets lit, and it's like,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so if I need to go back and review my dreams. 'cause I get some nice ones sometimes. And yeah, after that, I was just like, yeah, because I mean, I loved it because it's like I was in the flame and it was cool. There was no heat, but I knew I was giving off the heat, but I myself did not, have it. And I was nice and cool. I was nice and white. Everything else around me went from yellows to blues or whatever, however the flame works. And it was just the noise of listening to it just rushing past my ears. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I still remember just standing there, just being like, this is awesome.
But this is great. Yeah. And I think it's the kind of, maybe that's the energy of life. I don't know. That's what animates us. I don't know.
But I mean, it's so fun. I mean, like, it's so funny because like my idea of energy before was more like dust particles, catching sunlight, it just like floats and it's pretty and it's these little lights that light on you, like little fireflies, and then it sinks into your soul and you're like, yay, energy from the universe. Like the protons coming from the sunlight or something.
Oh yeah, okay.
How does that work? I don't know what comes from the sun. I should know this.
I think they're everywhere. They go through I think we're just they're everywhere.
Yeah, but yeah, and that dream was like showed me a different way.
Well, I like that. Yeah, and I hope we can use this much more. That's what we wanted to talk about next year, and I really hope we have some more community and some more energy and some more creative energy and more courage to use it.
Yeah. So do you have? So we have our wish and our intention. Do you have any ideas of how to start welcoming it in or bring it in? Or
I think this is some kind of personal thing for me, because I have to look out for any blocks or for anything that what I do to not allow this into my life. So I think it's just up to me, because the energy is everywhere and the ideas are everywhere, and it's no one's holding me back except me. And I mean, yeah, society is difficult at the moment, and it's very focused on the individual, but it doesn't matter. So I shouldn't be hindered by that. So I think I have to. That's what I decided. I have to be. That's what you said. I want to be more bold. I want to be bolder, and I want to go out there and do what I'm here to do. I mean, time is running out, isn't it? I mean. Yeah. I don't have the luxury to sit there. Oh, I don't know. Maybe next year.
That's how I feel every year. I'm like, oh, I wasted another year.
Yeah, the time is now, and we're holding ourselves back.
What are you gonna do tonight before the winter solstice?
I think I would try to look for this conjunction. It sounds interesting. I don't know if I have the means to do so. Maybe I have to do it with my own eyes. I don't know.
The other thing too, if you're interested, is the Newgrange in Ireland. They're live streaming sunrise and sunset.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So I put a link of that on my Facebook profile.
Oh yeah, I've been there, and they have this. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh yeah. I've been there, not at the winter solstice, but I've been there, and it's fascinating.
I'm gonna post up some things on my plan is I'm gonna post up a couple things on my social media, because what I realized for myself is that I think what I'm learning is, like, if you have the energy, you need a container for it. There's, I mean, if you go talking about chi or something, it's like, is it flowing through, or are you holding on to it? And it's like, I want to be both, I guess. And so maybe to keep it, I'm going to probably do a couple practices, try to get some flow, recognize it, remember it, and allow it. And then maybe also just post a couple things just to have a welcome, like people into my life, collaboration.
Yeah, that's a good
thing. So I think, and the easiest, simplest way that my goal for today is to update my link tree, actually put it up on my social media stuff, so people can go see my artwork and, go by a calendar and go, you know, like I have all this stuff that I don't even share. Like I'm blocking it from people even discovering what I have.
That's what I do. Yeah, that makes no sense in a way. It's just
Yeah.
But I think it's our experience as an artist, and it's maybe it's that. So, but I don't want them to succeed. Actually, they wanted to put me down. I don't want them to succeed. And if they put me down all the time, there must be something worth being out there.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say too is there's, you know, they keep talking about the feminine energy is what's coming, and collaboration is more feminine, and the circle idea is more feminine, and creativity, I don't know if that is or not, but but they also say that darkness is more feminine, is the feminine side. So my plan is I'm gonna go full on into sacred journaling stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna get all deep tonight into my plans and reflection around 4:30, since that's when it's dark.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. I think I would have to do some thinking as well, and I think it should be. It's not just that the feminine side should replace the male side. I think we should put it together.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, to combine it, to have the full thing, have everything.
Yeah. I saw something. I got the best analogy about the yin and yang years ago, because like I've always struggled with that yin and yang and the opposites and duality and all this stuff, but someone explained was like the symbol is actually supposed to be illustrating how it's moving in a flow. It's always moving into one to the other. It's like a day. It's the daylight.
Yeah, like
it's darkness.
Like a cycle. Yeah,
it's a cycle. So it's not a domination or a blend, and it doesn't blend, but it cycles through. And so that really helped me a lot, because it's like I always thought there was like this big conflict happening. I thought it was like push and pull, you know, or you know, if you're too this or too that, then it's wrong. But it's like, no, you're this way for a bit, and then you go into the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I like that.
So I mean, to me, then this is our very yin time with darkness and short days, and now's the time.
Yeah, very strange day after very strange year. We're a bit. I feel a bit lost for words at the moment. I'm not good at talking. I hope this makes sense for a first episode.
Yeah. Well, I liked it. I feel bad for anyone who's listening and being like, what is going on? What's happening? Why am I listening? But that's what happens is people sorting through ideas. That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, then I say this is a good ending spot, and we will get back together soon next week.
A bit more organized.
Yeah, maybe we should do another episode tomorrow.
Yeah.
See what happened. All right. It was nice talking to you, Lavanya.
Yes, it was nice talking to you.
See ya.